Welcome everyone to Safari Live. My name's Hayden Turner and welcome to the beautiful, magnificent Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves here in Sabi Sand, South Africa. What a beautiful afternoon. It's 26 degrees, 79 Fahrenheit. I've got Jeandré here and Rohan helping me today, and we are after anything we can find, but particularly we're going to try and find those leopards and see if we can come across those wild dogs. Yesterday was an afternoon I would probably go down in history for me to see all those pups, how we did. It was just such a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I think they've moved over onto another property from the word on the ground, but we will go down there and have a little look later. I'm going to go and try and figure out whether Karula and Tingana, two leopards that we know very, very well, are still in a static position or a stationary position. Actually, sorry, Karula it is, and Tingana, and we'll go and check that out. But the most important thing is you're here with us on the biggest safari vehicle on the planet. There's no doubt it is the biggest one on the planet. It's probably the only one operating right now out of Africa. And you're live with us, which is the most incredible experience. You can interact with us, you can talk to us, you can ask questions through Twitter, you can hashtag Safari Live, or you can email us at questions@wildearth.tv. So send them in, and if we can get to them, we definitely will. There's loads of questions come through. We get to as many as we possibly can. It's all part of this fantastic project, Safari Live. It's great to be here. So Pieter's with me this afternoon. It's the first drive Pete and I have done for a while, so I'm going to go across to him. He's got some beautiful creatures, one of my favourites, so we'll see you just now. Yeah, cool.
Well, what a beautiful afternoon, and what a fun afternoon as well to look forward to. I'm sure there's going to be some great things to be seen. First of all, welcome as well this side. Wium on camera today. Wium, always lucky to be out with you. And as Hayden was saying, lots has been happening the last few days. We had some excellent viewing as well as fantastic viewing this morning. Unfortunately, couldn't see all of it. We are busy rehearsing a few things, as you know, but trust me, it'll be worth your while. But fingers crossed, could be some great leopard this afternoon. Male, female, I'm not sure how much Hayden told you in the details, so I'm going to leave it at that. But Karula was around this morning, and hopefully we can see more of them. Otherwise, we're sitting up here close to Djuma Lodge. We are, of course, in Sabi Sands Game Reserve in the Greater Kruger National Park, down towards the southern end of the African continent. And one of the most recognizable animals, African animals, are these guys. We all learn about them even at school. When you start learning the basics of the alphabet, you normally start learning about zebra if you learn it in sort of English, or zebra if you're learning it in slightly more North American type of English. So Z or Z, zebra or zebra, nice little herd that we've got up here. In fact, might even be the same herd that we saw briefly this morning. That one that we're looking at now looks like a female that's pregnant. I remember Scott mentioned her on the walk. I think it's probably the same group. Just loving this light as well. Look at that beautiful, oh, that's lovely. Stunning image that. Got that sort of hazy backlit background. We've got, I don't know if you can really call it cloud. You could call it cloud, I guess. Light clouds, or almost like a fog if you want. And those are all Transvaal silver cluster leaves, those trees. Just look at that. What a place to be. As always, welcome to the game drive. This is a live safari. Let's get going. There's going to be lots happening. We're going to spend a bit of time with this general game. Apart from the zebra, there's also a herd of impala up front. Smallish antelope, or medium-sized antelope. And that's the mast, in case you're wondering what that is. Quite close to camp. That's the mast that brings you all the way to us, or us to you. So look around. My name's Pieter Pretorius. Feel free to ask some questions if you like, or just sit back and relax. That's the tent. You will see more about that or from that in the next little while, so let's leave it at that for now. Just the kind of thing to attract the attention of wild dog packs, solitary leopard to hunt, pride of lion perhaps if they're in the area. Not that that's all impala are, there's a million other things about them. That's interesting. But they do attract attention from the predators quite often, also because they're quite numerous. So as a species, there are many of them. Are you going to sit with them for a bit? There's three little black lines on the backside. Very typical markings, and when the tails are flicked, not as much, but when the tails are lifted up, they're very clear white underneath. So when they do see danger, they lift those tails up. Mostly females, young males. This one right at the back here, you can see those straight horns. He would be a young male from last year, so about a year old now. Most of these females we're looking at will be pregnant as we speak. We're now in October. The first babies start arriving normally around about mid-November or so. So quite soon the impala lambing season starts. And maybe a bit of rain will come along with that. My thought of rain is just this wind that you can hear. It's coming from Mozambique, so from the Indian Ocean side towards us, which will eventually be where the rain comes from as well. Well, the rain comes from sort of above, but you know what I mean. The moisture for it. And sometimes you have to just sit back and just sort of appreciate what we're doing. To be able to just drive around and see all these amazing things. This is like a utopia at the moment. We literally have, I don't know, at a rough guess, 100 impala, if not more. 6, 7 zebra, a little dazzle of zebra. We had giraffe in the area this morning, leopard, elephant, buffalo. Lots of birds. You can hear a turtle dove calling, franklin's calling. As we were driving around now, just before we went live with you, we could see marabou stork, some battaliers flying around. Speaking of driving around, keep in mind also that while we are driving around, or while we're sitting somewhere looking at something, anytime during the safari, you are very welcome to ask questions. Hashtag Safari Live, and it'll come through to us. We can't get to all the questions always, but we do try whenever we can. That's a fun question. Actually coming from the control room where Nikki and Tara, Jason, Kirsty and Alex, just to mention the team for this afternoon. They're the rock stars, making sure everything works from that side. Guys, let's just show you this as well. There's so many people behind the scenes that we don't always get the time to show and talk about. This afternoon I feel like it's not a bad time. It's Sunday afternoon, sort of a traditional family afternoon, so we're going to show you a little bit about the WildEarth family. Here we go. At the back there's Andrew, a very lucky guy. He gets to fly the drone, but even better than that, he gets to be driven around by a beautiful game ranger. Many of you have been on drive with JMA as well, so yes, and a brand new vehicle. We don't actually have a name for that vehicle yet. We're still playing around with a few names. This is the third one. We were sort of jokingly saying maybe Naru, which is 3 in Shangaan, but we'll get around to that beautiful vehicle. Okay, just a question there from Final Control, guys, and then I'm going to get rolling a bit further north. I want to go check out Buffelshoek Dam as well. All the waterholes will be a place to check this afternoon. But they were just asking about the house on the prairie that was built at some stage. I'll drive past it now on the way down to the dam. Cheers, guys. The house in the prairie was the sort of nickname we had. As I mentioned just now, that tent that you could see, that's going to be like a forwarding base, if you want, for Hayden. The first tent we had for last year during Big Cat Week, and subsequently we did a few other things around it as well. It was just up ahead here where we were just sitting with those impala. Just just as we go past, I'll quickly point it out to you. I just love this place. We're up now. This is the area we refer to always as quarantine. It's a lovely area, nice and open, big trees, and that little track actually to the right, that went to the house of the prairie, which was just between those trees there. You can see the log. And that's where we sat for the first live drive to Nat Geo Wild and Nat Geo as well. That stage for North America, for USA. We had that amazing drive where we had a beautiful leopard in Kunyuma, sorry. And I mean, to the day still, I think it's almost difficult to believe it happened like that, because we ended up pretty much following the leopard all the way, because the leopard was going to have a look at that setting where Hayden was sitting around the fire waiting for our chat around the fire. Leopard was watching him. As we got closer, hyena came, leopard jumped up in the tree, and we ended up sitting around the fire, Hayden and myself, having a chat to each other. And just in the back left corner, there was a leopard sitting up in the tree in the spotlight. It really was, you know, surreal. People would have thought, if you'd said, listen, we're going to do this, people would have said, no, it's impossible in the wild unless you sort of have a plan to make it happen. But in the wild, for that to happen, I mean, the odds are just a gazillion to one. Perhaps a few of you actually wouldn't mind posting a few of those pictures again. And a big shout out and a big thank you to everyone that's been part of this for many a time, and that got so involved. It's fantastic to get back in the evenings, and there's just little videos of memories and of the day, of the experience, photographs, images that you share. Thank you so much for that. It really is much appreciated, and really is felt in the vehicle as well. Hey, there we go. Well, a little bit of sort of Sunday afternoon family chit chat. Enjoyed it. But for now, Hayden has got beautiful surprises for you. I'm not going to say more than that. Enjoy it. We will see a little bit later. I'm going to look for some elephants up towards Buffelshoek Dam. So maybe we've got some ellies later on. Enjoy. See you later.
Well. Look who we have here. The Queen of Juma. Karula, who I haven't seen for about 6 months. This just keeps getting better. I'm so privileged to see this beautiful cat who has such a loving following, as do all our big cats, but this particular leopard is very, very special to everyone. And she is just lying down chilling, but I did think I'll just see if Rohan can just pan around, please, mate. I do apologise. I was looking at Karula there, and that just happens to be another leopard, and that is Tingana. Now, Tingana is a big male leopard on the eastern side of his territory, probably the furthest most east of his territory, and he's come over into this territory here, so there's a good chance that Karula will follow him back into his own sort of proper territory proper. We're not sure, but there was a fair bit of flirting going on this morning from our wonderful Karula, and she hasn't had any interest from him. You might hear me clicking away, folks, because I haven't seen this girl for such a long time. I hope you don't mind. It's just any photograph I can get of her, I always try, because she is absolutely striking animal. They all are, all the leopards. It's just such an incredible species. And you know what, we're just going to park here. We've got another vehicle arriving just now, and it's Aubrey, I think, from Juma with some of his guests, so you may hear a little bit of talking going on next to us. Aubrey and his guests discussing these two beautiful cats as well. And I think this is one of the magical things about being on safari all together as a group. All of us are here experiencing the same thing, and sharing these sightings with each other is such a beautiful it feels really great. It feels great. You feel like you're having a moment with everyone that you'll take away from this incredible place. So I'm just going to take a couple more photographs, folks, if that's okay. Lovely comment from Jill on Twitter. Jill, thank you so much. It does feel very, very special to see two of my favourite large predators in less than 24 hours here on, all about 24 hours here on on this magnificent part of the planet. Wild dogs and wild dog pups yesterday, and 2 leopards today. Now it's not always, you know, I have to tell you, it's not often that you see 2 leopards together. You do see them obviously when they come to mating, or what we're seeing probably now. She is definitely keen to carry on with this mating process. He's not showing a lot of interest at the moment, but generally you normally only see leopards solitary, and they are a solitary cat. So this is quite a special moment. It's a special moment for me as well, because Tingana is the 2nd leopard I ever met on Jeandré and Arathusa here in Sabi Sands. So one of the things I would like to do, and this is what I love about Safari Live as well, is that you're going to help me now. You're going to help me with your knowledge. Many of you have been following these cats a lot longer than I have, and if anyone can help me with the age and maybe some more information about Tingana, I'd really love to hear from you. So if you want to tweet us at #SafariLive or questions@wildearth.tv, and just give me a couple of facts about Tingana, that would be great. And it's all about sharing information and data that's been collected over the years. It is, as I said, about 26 degrees Celsius, about 79 Fahrenheit at the moment, so it's still quite warm for any predator to be up and active. But as the afternoon shadows lengthen, we will hopefully see some activity, and hopefully witness the next generation, if we're lucky. Definitely not something that I can count on more than one hand, the times that I've ever seen leopards mate. So a very good position we're in. But at the moment we've got what we call flat cats, and the great thing about having Pieter out and Scott out on walk, on tracking as well, and our trackers out, and that is we can chop and change between everyone and cover a lot of ground and a lot of activity and subjects. Something just about being in the presence of leopard. It feels quite a royal occasion, really. They are, for me, my ultimate cat. We've just got another vehicle arriving. So what I might do is, while these guys are flat, and I promise you, if anything happens, I'll come right back to you. But we're going to cross over to Scott, who is just incredible in the bush, absolutely amazing to watch and listen to. I'm mesmerised when I watch Scotty in the bush because he's at one with it, and he's so passionate and enthusiastic, and boy does he know what he's talking about. So we're going to cross over to him, and I'll catch you just now.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it's a great pleasure to welcome you onto the bushwalk. My name's Scott, if you haven't met me before, and I'm teamed up with Brian on camera. It's usually Jeandré on the backpack, but Brian is excited to have his chance to be involved. It's a very windy afternoon. Take a look at this. I mean, the ash from my ash bag is flying very quickly to the north, and walking in windy conditions, you do have to be cautious, because we basically cannot share any animals that may be feeding around us. Well, it's more difficult to, and they also cannot share us. So we're going to make sure that we don't startle anything and give it a fright, because it's frightened animals that tend to be dangerous. So we're going to need your help. Keep your eyes peeled as we move through this area, and we'll see what we can find. We're in the kind of northeastern corner of Jeandré, and are going to be making our way towards the Buffelshoek waterhole. It's a hot afternoon, and there's a strong chance there could be some animals drinking there. But we're going to take it very slowly, see what we can find along the way, and I'm sure it won't take long for us to find something interesting. And like I said, doesn't take too long. The great thing about being on foot is that you get to look at some of the smaller things that are going on that are quite easy to overlook when you're in a vehicle. So let's take a look down here, and what I'm going to try and do is show you this devil's claw flower, a very pretty purple flower, and I've only noticed these plants and flowers sprouting up in the last week or so. And it's been fascinating to watch how the different plants will start germinating at different times of the spring season. This is a little bit later than others that have already sprouted up. And it's called a devil's claw because there's a large thorn that's actually round and about that size, and it's got 2 spikes coming out of it. And those spikes are perfect to lodge into an animal's hoof, and that's how the seeds will get transported. So I'll try and find you one of their seeds. This plant is yet to start growing those devil thorn seeds, but they're nasty to stand on, and I'm glad I'm wearing shoes walking through this area. Beautiful flowers though, and there's a lot more flowers that will be sprouting up over the coming weeks and months. And this is the devil's claw. Good. There's a lot of signs of buffalo moving through this area, and they're a dangerous animal to encounter on foot, probably one of the most dangerous. So I'm going to keep that in mind. And also, even if there aren't any tracks, it's important just to be ready for anything. You never know what you may bump into, the same as in the vehicles. And that's why, as we're moving along, I'm looking at potential escape routes, areas that I could suggest Brian to scramble to. He's got quite a big backpack on with a long antenna sticking up out of it. So I've just been assuring him that I'll be sure not to leave him stranded if anything does happen. Well, one of my good friends, Matty, who's just 9 years old, is enjoying this afternoon safari with us, and he's desperate for us to try and find him a snake. But sadly, Matty, I have not seen a snake for quite some time now. They are all around, and actually, on the sunrise safari, we found some sign of a snake, and I've actually still got it in my pockets, so we're in luck. And this is a snake skin that I found. I'm just going to drop my ash bag, and you can see that this is from a snake, Matty. You can see all the little scales. Interestingly, if you look at these long scales, that's the stomach of the snake. And if I turn it around, you'll see smaller scales that are kind of round, and that's the top half of the snake. I sadly don't know which snake it is though, but I'm going to hang on to it. It's my good luck charm, and hopefully the snake skin will help us find a snake. Like I've said though, Matty, they are very good at slithering away, and they'll always avoid us if they can. They don't like being around humans. They find us quite scary. We're much bigger than most snakes, so they tend to slither off. That's one thing. They also are very well camouflaged a lot of the time. I'm just going to bend down and pick up my sock quickly, and it's a very important tool, this, but it sometimes gets in the way. So Matty, no snakes, but keep tuning into the safaris, as I'm sure you will, and we will get lucky. So, very happy that Hayden is with Karula and Tingana, a male and female leopards. I'm wondering if Tingana is going to give in to Karula's seduction a little bit later on, but you'll be sure to find out, and I'm sure Hayden's going to spend some time there. And it certainly has been wonderful having you on the bushwalk, but in this thick area, I'm going to I actually want to really concentrate and not talk too much, take it very, very slowly, just so that I make sure Brian and myself don't run into any trouble. And what I'm thinking of doing is possibly sending you back onto one of the vehicles while we get through this thick area. So, we shall see you in a little bit, and Pieter is ready to receive you. Enjoy, and we'll be sure to catch up a bit later.
Well guys, obviously fantastic. Having leopard out there is always exciting. Having two leopard even better, and especially when it's male and female that are mating, it's very, very exciting. Also because cross fingers and touch wood and all those things, but they could be around for the next day or two, which is obviously what we're all hoping for. And on a personal note, I'm just really stoked for Hayden as well. Hayden obviously enjoying seeing that. So brilliant. We will go back there later on. The sun is getting lower. They should get more active as the afternoon progresses. Just in case you're wondering why we see these guys so often, I think they're following us around.
Hi. Sorry.
I'm not sure what. Yeah, that's obviously to give you that brilliant sky view when it's possible. But get back to what we're doing. We are on one of the main roads, which is why you're seeing the signboard. This is Oooooohhhh, which is our northern neighbor in the area. If this is maybe your first game drive with us, Sabi Sands Game Reserve is a private reserve, which is one of the reasons why we get such incredible game viewing. We can go off-road. How you behave around the animals are well controlled by people that have done this for a long time with great experience, obviously great compassion for the animals as well. So the quality of game viewing is second to none in the world. It does mean, however, that different people own different parts of the land. From an animal point of view, it makes no difference. It's one big ecological system all the way through to Kruger National Park. So we're talking about millions of acres of natural habitat. So true wildlife paradise. But you do get some roads like this that are quite straight, because it's, in this case, the boundary, the people boundary, if you want, between left and right. On the walk, good things happening there. Scott's going into some thick stuff. Curious to see what else they can find today. He had a beautiful giraffe this morning. Not on the drive with you, but I really enjoyed seeing that. It was one of the nicest walk sequences I've seen in a long time. So you can look forward to spending more time with Scott and Brent as well over time in the walk. It's going to be quiet for a little bit to get through these dips. And I think up ahead, a little bit earlier, we saw some giraffe and zebra. Maybe we can find them again. Driving this, just checking for the wild dogs that we'd seen yesterday. Hayden saw them a couple hundred yards back, literally from here, probably 300 yards back. And they like these long roads, especially the wild dogs, because when they hunt in packs, they can quite often sort of use the road. And this is what we call fire breaks. Self-explanatory. Fire breaks are what's used to stop fires. And you normally have a road, and then you have about 30 or 40 yards of area that gets cleared a little bit, and then another little road on the other side. So for wild dogs, it's really good hunting, or strategically it works well for them. One on the left, one on the right, running down the road, another one flushing game through. So if wild dogs in the area, you very often find them on these longer roads. Like the stallion. Go a little bit forward. The giraffe should pop out as well. Probably go closer to them just now. But this is a Birchill zebra, or plain zebra. If you look very carefully just to the right of that zebra, little orange flower, some of the sort of beginning signs of spring. Obviously, once the rains come, it all happens much quicker. Now, zebras are grazers or grass eaters. Also have a different digestive system from most of your antelopes. So if you take, for instance, impala or blue wildebeest, maybe a better comparison, also a grazer. They are ruminants, chewing a cud, breaking their food down sort of over different stages, whereas zebras are hindgut fermenters. They have the same stomach system as horses, for that matter, elephant, rhino, hippo, which does mean they need to consume proportionately more per animal than, for instance, an antelope with a different digestive system. I must say there's a very peaceful Sunday afternoon feeling to these guys. Not really worried about us. Well, not really, not at all. And this is the one we saw on the road. This is the stallion. But just look at the markings. Now we all look at a zebra and obviously we know they're beautiful. We will look at them, but just really look at it. Look at the details. Look at those diamond shapes on the forehead when it turns our way. Look at how perfect the markings run around the eye, around the ears, from the mane into the neck, or from the neck onto the mane. Amazing. I mean, if you think of all the different color schemes and patterns and shapes that evolution could come up with. Amazing, the zebra's design. Still, there's many theories as to the purpose of the stripes, but that it looks incredible, that's something we can all agree on very easily. Now there is a... Hey, he's going to come out. Thank you, Mr. Giraffe. We've actually had the giraffe in the background the whole time. We just didn't see him because he was standing in a slight dip and behind some bushes. Third and fourth most recognized African animals. After the lion and the elephant, giraffe and zebra are the most sort of sought after or imagined to be seen animals when people go on safari. And this guy is being a little bit tricky. How different they are. Beautiful. I think we're going to move on. We are on this northern boundary and we are making our way towards Buffelshoek Dam. We will probably look around with the other vehicles as well, but I want to go look for elephants specifically. Also, we're starting to sort of feel like lions might be making an appearance soon, so hopefully that happens. But in the meantime, from stripes to spots, enjoy it with HD. We'll see you back here in a bit.
Well, welcome back to this little flat cat episode that we have here going on for you folks. If you've just joined us, welcome aboard. And if you were still with us wondering if there was any action going on, the answer is no. These two are still flat out. It's still a pretty warm afternoon. And I know Pieter just had a lovely sighting with the zebra there. I think the great thing to know is that because we've got so many vehicles and sort of different perspectives on the bush, it's really wonderful to be able to sit with these cats, and Pete's off going doing something else and Scott's doing something else on foot. It's a really great way for us to cover all these wonderful things. Now, I just got a little bit of information from Debbie on Twitter, and thank you so much, Debbie. I wasn't sure what age Tingana was, and Debbie has let me know that Tingana's 9 years old. Thank you so much for that. We've just got Tingana sitting up now, so we're just going to have a little look at him. He is a big boy. You probably see great similarities here, folks, with your domestic cat if you own one there, doing exactly the same thing. Licking his paw and cleaning his face there. So many similarities between that we see in our own domestic pets with these big cats, and It's quite beautiful to watch. It's quite very relaxing to watch a cat clean itself and the care that it takes. So the other vehicle you can hear starting up is a great guide from Jeandré, Albury, with his guests, and I think they're just going to move on and come back. A little bit of wind on the microphone here, folks, at the moment too. Apologies for that. But yeah, really beautiful and mesmerising to watch. So we've got a great question from Andrina from South Carolina, wanting to know what age leopards stop breeding, and that Karula is getting on a little bit. She's 11 years of age, and she's been mating loads in the past year or so, and she still hasn't conceived. So 16 is around the age that research shows that they sort of stop breeding. She's got a fair few, 5 more years left in her if we go by what the research states. But it happens to just be the right time. The females only come into estrus for about 7 days, and the timing's got to be perfect. But we will wait and see. I mean, to witness this would be absolutely extraordinary. Tingana's definitely awake, but our Queen of Jeandré is not showing major signs of interest at the moment. He is a beautiful big boy. I thought he was going to get up and move over towards her then, but he's not in any mood to do that either. I thought he was starting to get ready to move over towards her even, but no, he's just laid back down again. And this can happen, this is what leopards spend most of their day doing, resting up out of the heat of the day, and as the air starts to get a little bit cooler, they'll get operational and use their greatest skill, or one of their greatest skills, and that's their ability to stalk. Karula's just sat up as well, so if we can just come across to her now and have a little look here. I'm just taking a few images, folks, because I haven't seen Karula for some time. She is one special cat, and particularly when cats, I was just looking down the lens at her then, and she was looking straight into the lens, and it's quite an incredible look to have that leopard look at you. She's a little bit more active. She woke up herself just then. She wasn't disturbed. Let's see what she does. And then you just don't know as well. Anything could happen. We can be sitting right here. We could be sitting here and a prey animal could walk onto these animals, and they would completely take up that opportunity and utilize it. Beautiful coat pattern that just blends them into the landscape, that dappled light as it hits that coat pattern. A little bit of a wind picking up. I saw Karula in this location about a year ago, and she was just walking through this sort of little bit of open woodland here, and I remember she let me follow her. It was really nice because it's great to drive through here. The access is very easy. You don't have to go crashing through any of the bush sort of, so it makes driving much more of a pleasure and quieter as well. And it was just so nice just to sit with her and drive around sort of next to her, and she'd walk past you, and she's just one of the loveliest leopards. But she's been a little bit of elusive of late. A lot of the team have told me they haven't seen her for a while, or they see her sometimes, and there's loads of movement going on with the territories of the leopards as well. And Q, my first leopard that I ever met, he's over on an adjacent property at the moment. But I did hear his name mentioned on the radio this afternoon, and I thought, could you imagine if I saw him? Wow. That was lovely. That's just lovely yawn. I often find when lions particularly start to do this yawn, I believe it's the same with leopards, that yawning and stretching, they start to do just before they get a little bit active. I should probably lie down after that. Just watching something over there. I got a great question from Jen in Idaho, and Jen, your question is a really great one. When you think about it, we think sometimes that the mating situation takes all of their day, and they do get pretty fixated on mating. But at the same time, if something was to present itself, they would definitely take that opportunity. Now, I've seen leopard hunting at all times of the day. I've seen leopard hunting in the middle of the baking sun in Tanzania. I've seen leopards hunting at night, morning, afternoon. It doesn't matter. The books and most of the research shows that they're really active sort of around dawn and dusk and through the night, and that's got a lot to do with the heat. But depending on what the contributing factors may be, whether it's not an enormous amount of food around, if she had cubs and she was she was needing food and she wasn't getting out as much to eat herself, or just all different things. But my point is that every book that you read, there's a lot of research in the background that goes on with wonderful, dedicated scientists that allow us to, here she goes, to allow us to share this information and read about it. Let's just see what happens here. She may present herself to him. Well, it doesn't get much more obvious than that. I'm not sure if the microphone could pick that up from here, but she was nuzzling him or nudging him, and he was just giving this very loud purr or not a growl. He's doing it again there. This is so beautiful to share with you, and to have you here with me, and it's, oh goodness, this is one incredible trip. Wow, 2 leopards, not just any 2 leopards, but Karula and Tingana. I love the way she's standing there as well with that back leg stretched right back. That's a lovely comment from Lisa. Lisa's just said 3 yawns. Lisa on Twitter, that's really great. 3 yawns and they must get moving. So look at her, will you? amazing behaviour. Absolutely amazing, folks, to see that. I've never seen that in the flesh before. The way that she just rubbed herself down his belly there. I mean, it's getting a little. Look at that back flick. Now that's what we were watching this earlier, and this is an extraordinary thing. That little twitch in the back that she does, really trying to attract his attention. This is spectacular. He's probably going to. He might give her a swat in a minute if she's not careful. Well, I can guarantee one thing, folks. She hasn't got cubs. That is for sure. We were all wondering whether she had cubs, and that's why we weren't seeing her that much, but she wouldn't be doing this if she had cubs. This behaviour is mating behaviour at its finest, what you're watching here, live, 100% live from South Africa, on Safari Live, and this is what's incredible, to share this with you. Astounding. Great question from Leslie in California. Would a male leopard that came across a female leopard that wasn't in season potentially kill her? Leslie, there's so many different scenarios that can play out with things like that. You know, the female would probably try and elude, you know, getting into any confrontation with another male. It has happened. There's definitely been deaths from males killing females, but it's one of those things where she would probably escape very quickly, as quickly as she possibly could. If she had cubs and it wasn't that other male leopard's cubs, then there could be a confrontation, her protecting her cubs. Normally they would flee, but when a cub situation came in, she would probably stand her ground, even with hyena and other predators. But it doesn't always end up for the best, that's for sure. You know, predators play a huge role in taking cubs. But infanticide occurs in leopards as well, and one of the greatest data has shown, the data that's been collected or that has been documented, that male leopards are one of the pretty much sort of equal at the top of the list when it comes to the fatalities, the reason for fatalities in the cubs. But great question, Leslie. Well, folks, we've gone flat again. That was pretty special to see. Absolutely incredible to witness that bit of behaviour, and I've never seen that actually live before to that degree. I've seen leopards mating and displaying and that sort of thing, but I've never seen that actually happen right in front of us. Incredible stuff, but they've gone flat. Let's cross over to Pete and see what he's up to, and we will come back to you if anything changes. I promise to you, we'll be right back with you. See you just now.
Well, you might not find it easy to get this comparison, but what we were just looking at had a lot to do, or a lot in common, with Tingana. It's incredibly beautiful, but not doing anything at all, or no activity whatsoever. Tingana, of course, that male leopard that you were watching with Hayden, and with Karula, the female as well. It seems that she was trying to get his attention. Yes, who knows the reasons for things in animal behavior. Still entertaining. We've been sitting here for a little bit, just hoping to, well, firstly just enjoying it. I've always loved sitting at waterholes anywhere in Africa because anything can sort of walk down for a drink suddenly. We've been watching a bit, listening to the wind, and also just looking at this. As we get closer to the vehicle, that area that you're looking at down there, that's a very good sort of popular wallowing spot at the moment. Rhino, elephant, buffalo, warthogs, not leopards, not lions. Pretty much your big animals with sort of rougher skins. They love to wallow, and this sort of slushy mud is perfect for that. You can even see the textures in it. This would have been from elephant yesterday. I can see some tracks from this morning, but nothing yet this afternoon. So we were hoping for elephant, and it might still happen at any second. This is a popular place for ellies. After the wallowing, they will come out, and then you should be able to see it. I might just have to bend out the way. But here towards our right-hand side, that log, there we go. That's a perfect place to go and have a good rub or a scratch again afterwards. Elephants again, buffalo. Here you can see the texture on the wood. That would mostly be their bellies. So they actually straddle that tree trunk, get their bellies onto it, have a good scratch up against the backside or something. There was a bird that was sitting there. So even though there's no animals here at this moment, you can still see all the activity and all the movement from them having been here. And we also want to do a little bit of a test. The fact that we're doing this and talking to you from where we're sitting now is a good thing. It means we've got better signal. We're going to continue on a little bit. I do think we will be back around this waterhole again as the afternoon goes on, purely because I would say this is probably the best bet in terms of finding some elephant today. And I do also think that as much as Tingana, that male leopard, can be playing it cool at the moment, he's not going to be able to do that forever. So let's go back and have a look at what those leopards are up to. Enjoy it with HD. We will see you a bit later.
Well, Karula has just sat back up, and she's becoming a little bit more active, but I think Pete's definitely one of the people that knows most about these leopards and has spent most time with these leopards, particularly Karula. Pieter has a very, very strong sort of association with this cat, and he has been pretty much along on the WildEarth journey, and really has been quite incredible to know hear some of his stories about Karula and watch her grow up. So yeah, he's a great wealth of knowledge, Pieter, but he knows lots of the leopards, and Tingana is one of those males that he might be just holding back at the minute, but as Pete probably mentioned, he's probably only going to be able to hold back for so long, and then he's going to have to give in, because from what we just saw a second ago, she ain't giving up, that's for sure. It's just incredible. Sometimes I was just sitting with talking to Jeandré and Rohan with me today, and we were just saying how incredible it is to be sitting here in the presence of these two beautiful cats. Just got a lovely question from Ginny, and this is what the wonderful thing is about it, Ginny. It sounds like you've just joined us now and you'd like to know what leopards we're sitting with. Well, on the left, we'll just go in a bit closer and show you Tingana. This is Tingana. You may have met Tingana before. Tingana's about 9 years of age, and a beautiful big cat. Big boy, and you can see the size difference between the two. And Jeandré is going to just pan across gently now to see Karula. on the right there, and this is a little bit of a mating game at the moment. There hasn't been any activity in the sense of actual mating, but there's been loads and loads of flirting going on that we've just witnessed, and it's only going to be a matter of time before there is a mating that does occur. And quite an incredible thing to experience. So if we're lucky enough to have that happen today, that would be wonderful. But just to be in the presence of these cats is an extraordinary thing. Got another lovely comment from Sandy. Thanks, Sandy, and thanks for being on board with us today. That saying that if Tingana, if Karula doesn't get any action out of Tingana, she's going to have to go and look for Mvula. And I think you may be right, but I think Tingana is actually going to come to the party at some point. It's very interesting, it really is, and if you'll get all different people's opinions about why this is happening, how it's happening, and so on. But leopards are incredible creatures, they really, really are. And what we will see, we'll either see the mating occur, or we won't, and it'll happen later on. But the best we can do is just sit and wait. And if you don't mind, please tweet in and give us a little bit of an idea of who would like me to move on and who would like me to stay. I'm having a bit of a guess, I know the answer, but I always like to ask, because if, sitting on the back of our vehicle here, folks, we always ask our guests what you would like to do. Do you want to stay or move on and come back? So I always leave that up to you. Just give us a tweet at #SafariLive, and we will be able to get a bit of an idea, and maybe Control can then tell me what the sort of guesstimate on percentage is to stay or go. Very interesting question from Mischian in Dallas, Texas. Mischian, great to have you on board, and I love your city. I've been to Dallas many times, and it's a cracking place. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being on the vehicle with us. A great question from you, wondering whether if a prey animal was to come through here, whether Tingana and Karula would hunt together. I have to say that I've never seen two leopards actually hunt together, other than maybe a mother and offspring, maybe helping each other once the final sort of kill or capture occurred. But I think what would happen is Tingana would potentially, even if Karula did make the kill, Tingana would probably steal that from her and push her off for a bit. I think that you would find that the love and the tender flirtation that's happening at the moment would turn into back away, this is mine, and it would go back to solitary cat behaviour. But you never know. There's been some extraordinary behaviour here over the past few years that people have documented, with sharing a meal, father and son. I think it was quarantine. And I think also there's been other documentation of it, so you just never know. One would think that it would be the situation that I just said first, but you just never know what the situation could turn out to be. So, Mission, lovely question. I can't predict the future, but goodness me, wouldn't it be great to see that happen? Thanks so much for being with us. So this is classic behaviour. This is textbook behaviour. I'm just keeping an eye, looking around myself. You might hear me rustling around here in the front seat, but I'm just keeping my eyes open as well, because Mischian has just also reminded me that any animal could walk up onto these leopards, particularly from the right of your screen. The wind direction, if Jeandré can just pan up to those, to some of those trees, you can just see a little breeze blowing on some of them there. That wind is coming from the right of the animals, okay? So any animal that came from that side would be upwind, and they wouldn't detect or smell these leopards, that's for sure. But the leopard may detect them. And we will definitely see very, very fast reaction from the leopard if they were to detect something. Kathy's got a great question from Memphis, Tennessee. Kathy, welcome aboard and great to have you with us today. Always great to have people from all over the world with us, and another great city. Every time I hear one of the cities that people say they're from, it really helps us too, folks. When you do tweet us or email us, it's great to know where you are. Really lovely to know what part of the world you're in. And Kathy, your question is, do I think that Tingana and Karula are in early or late stages of mating? Well, my gut feeling is it's early. If she would have already had mating sessions with Tingana, I'd say she probably... it is hard to say, Kathy. They normally only stay together for as long as they need to mate, and once that conception has occurred, they normally move off. But again, there's always exceptions to the rule, Kathy. So my gut feeling, which is what your question was, is that it's early stages, and maybe he knows that she's not perfectly in estrus. The estrus lasts for about 7 days, so he might be just waiting for hours for all we know. Even though if we look at him there on the left, and we just might go in close on our beautiful Tingana there, he doesn't look like he's in any great hurry at the moment, that's for sure. Neither of them do. Just a lovely opportunity now to just go and have a look at some of the characteristics of this beautiful cat, and those rosette markings. They are it's the sort of power and stealth rolled into one for me. These cats, that's what they are to me. It's all encapsulated in this one package called a leopard, and every time I see them, you look at them as a powerhouse, a hunting powerhouse, but then you just look at them and they're just the most sleek, beautiful cat. And when they're lying like this, you can really have a close encounter with their markings and the length of their tail and that powerful shoulder area as well on these cats, which is one of the reasons why they're such fantastic climbers. And above all the cats, the most adaptive, or the greatest adaptation they have, or the greatest ace they have, or joker up their sleeve when it comes to survival, is they can actually hoist or take their kill or their prey up into a tree. And that is an incredible adaptation, because none of the other cats do that. And when you've got the ability to do that and get out of harm's way, lions are not very good climbers at all, very ungainly and cumbersome when it comes to climbing, but these guys are extraordinary climbers and can haul much larger than their own body weight up a tree and store it out of harm's way. Well, folks, this is again, I have to say it, the wonderful thing about Safari Live. You have just spoken to me and told me to stay, and I love that. You've told me what you want, and guess what? We're going to stay. We're going to stay here with these beautiful cats, and I'm going to cross over to Scotty, the wonderful Scotty D out there, finding something interesting for us on Bushwalk. We'll be right back.
Good to have you back, everyone. And we were quite close to Buffelshoek Dam when we had a report that Pieter had just been there. So we've actually diverted our course. No point in both of us checking the same area. We're going to skirt around the waterhole and see if there's anything interesting nearby. And like I've said, the great thing about being on foot is some of the smaller things or some of the signs that are left behind by animals. And it's critical when walking to take heed of these signs, because they can be very important clues which will ensure that you don't bump into any animals you're not hoping to, or potentially find animals that you are looking for. And if we take a closer look here, this is a marula tree. The bark is very mottled in coloration, so that's one way of knowing that it's a marula. And there's not very deep ridges in the bark. So kind of patchy puzzle pieces with dark greys, light whites, and even little black sections. Then you'll notice this bigger area over here that's been covered in mud. And you can judge by the height that we're at here. It's not a very tall animal that would have rubbed its muddy body all over this tree. I'm fairly certain it was a buffalo, but let's take a closer look and see if we can make sure that it was one. Sometimes you can even find the ectoparasites that get plucked out of the buffalo or elephant's skin that get cased in this drying mud. And here we go. Let me try and see if I can pull that out. Let's take a closer look at that. There you can see one or two pieces of the buffalo's fur that's been plucked out, as would the parasite. Sadly, I didn't get very much there, but lots of little pieces of buffalo fur. And I would have come here probably after being at the Buffelshoek waterhole where you've just been with Pieter, and rubbed its body up against this tree, leaving the mud on it. And sometimes you will see a few ticks or ectoparasites. Sadly, there don't appear to be any here. Now, there's, like I say, a few animals that will enjoy wallowing in mud: warthogs, buffalo, rhino, and elephants. And elephants, had it have rubbed itself against here, the mud would have probably been higher up on the tree, somewhere up to probably even here for the bigger elephants. And the good news is, you may not see elephants rubbing their muddy bodies against tree, but you certainly will be seeing some now with Pieter. Enjoy.
Well, some nice tough skin for running through the bushes, but also a good way to take care of it, obviously, as Scott was explaining there, is getting some mud in it every so often. Buffalo, many of the big animals do this, and of course elephant. What afternoon, leopard, excitement on the walk, or things on the walk. Excitement's always just around the next bush on a walk. And then of course some elephants. We were hoping to find some. We were driving down Cheetah Cutline here. Very happy to see these guys. Little breeding group. That's a youngster. There's a couple of babies, and in fact there's more elephants still coming out in the back as well. So I'm not quite exactly sure the size of this herd, but at least 10, 15 elephant perhaps. That's about a 6-7 year old. Oh, there I just heard some other elephant into the east from us, maybe a kilometer away, even quite far away, but it means there's lots of elephant in the general vicinity. Let's go a little bit forward. We've been sitting with them for a little while now, so they've become very used to us. And with the elephant especially, it's always good to give them a few minutes just to sort of get used to you, and you to get used to them as well, I guess, but just so they can be nice and comfortable. That's the matriarch, what looks like the biggest female in this group, which is also heavily or lactating quite heavily. That's her young calf just behind. They will follow shortly. We should see all of them in front of us just now, so this should be beautiful viewing. She's in great condition, very healthy. In her prime, she's, I'm guessing, in the late 30s, early 40s even, probably late 30s. Oh, this is going to be awesome. There's her calf coming over. I love all Ellies, but baby Ellies can be so much fun because they're curious. Look at him. What is he throwing around there? Little stick or something? I might have to actually reconsider. Yeah, no, I do think that was the matriarch. Look, I'm just looking at another female coming out on our right-hand side here. They're all busy coming out now. Also quite a big female. She might, for a minute, thought be the matriarch, but perhaps she's second in charge. So what? Fantastic elephant. That would be probably her calf. That little one is the other one's calf. And then this one in the middle is a cousin or maybe one of the older calves. Remember, elephants do truly live in family units. Guys, you must keep in mind also with elephant, they eat a lot of different foods. If you look at that tree trunk in the back there, that white tree trunk, actually, that's an example of some elephant activity maybe a year or two ago. They would have eaten that bark. And that sort of ties into your question, Bob, asking that you've heard elephants don't really die of old age, but of losing condition because of losing their teeth, essentially. Well, yeah, I mean, depends on how you look at it, you know, what's which side of the coin you're looking at. They lose their teeth eventually because of old age. And the teeth get worn down, obviously, from having to eat a lot of rough food. Things like the bark we just spoke of, you know, grass and a lot of plant roots, and in winter time they have to dig out roots and things like that. So eventually they lose those teeth. Bob, just in short, and this is a long explanation that I can go on for hours, not hours about, but for a long time about. But in short, elephants get 6 different sets of molars, of teeth to eat with. It's such a funny when they do that sort of fast walk, slow run movement. So Bob, the teeth they chew with, in this case with the African elephant, they have these lozenge-shaped ridges on them, which is where the Latin name comes from, Loxodonta africana, Loxodonta referring to that shape. There's a tree trunk I was mentioning. So they get these 6 different sets of teeth coming out in a horizontal plane. So one tooth doesn't push the other teeth out. It sort of just comes out like a really slow conveyor belt. And they get the last set, the 6th set, normally around about their mid-30s, which means at that stage they have a brand new number 6, pretty decent number 5, and maybe some of the number 4 teeth left, if that's making sense to you. And then that wears down over time. So also elephant that eat a lot of soft foods, that live in a sort of quite a comfy habitat, lots of rain, lots of good food. I'm going to turn around and see if we can't catch up with some of the ones at the back of the herd. So elephants that eat a lot of softer foods, their teeth would obviously last longer. Let's see where we're going here. Whereas elephants that live in sort of harsh environments, that have to eat a lot of dry and hard foods, their teeth wouldn't last as long. So elephant could live a little bit older in some habitats than they would in others. Normally around 55, 60 years. Seems these are the guys sort of at the back end of the group. Again, most likely a mother and her calf. Though not always. Keep in mind, elephants help each other look after the youngsters as well. Oh no. Sorry, I thought I saw something else in the back there. What's this about? Let me tell you why I said, For a minute there I thought the big one wasn't a female, but it is actually a cow. Hello. This looks like a young bull though. Not very old, he would be about 1 year old or a year. Around about that, maybe slightly more. Looks like it's going to be a tall elephant. It's coming to have a closer look at us. Elephants do this quite often. They will sort of feed closer and closer to you. Eat something, break off a little twig, pull out some grass, but in the process coming closer to have a look sort of at you and see what you're doing as well. I think this is what this young guy is up to. I'm going to go into a little break. There's the mum. So they have to be more selective as to what they eat. And then early summer, lots of and the tusks are still perfect, as you can see. She can still use them as tools, break the twigs off. Guys, big welcome back. Technical thing or two to get sorted out, but sorted out just in time, because look at this. We thought we were at the tail end of the herd. It seems we'd only seen about half of them. And look at this beautiful group. Various youngsters in the group, and that one very small one tucked away amongst the others at the moment. Look at that. He wants to play like all young animals. This one is only a month or two, 3 old. I think we saw the same calf the other day. That female with a sort of big gap in her ear looks familiar. So this one is probably 2 or 3 months old. The small one there, the one that's trying to, I'm not sure what. Get the older cousin's ear in its mouth or something. Just listen to it as well. I just love that sound. Big animals moving through the bush. Look at the little one. Hey! Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. Awesome. The mother is quite relaxed, so that's a good start. Might mean this little guy might come and investigate us a little bit as well. Now he's at the most, I would say, 2 months old, if that. He would still fit under his mum's chest, and the mother is not a very big female. That's probably her second calf. I would guess one of these other bigger ones would be the first. Here's a slight sort of, not quite a teenager. This would be about 7 years. The bigger females go down as efficiently as I'd like to. Here's the little one we wanted to see. Look at that. A young I think they're also heading down towards a waterhole, about a kilometer from here, a little bit less than a mile, half a mile or so. There is a waterhole at Torchwood Camp. That might be where they're heading. In the meantime, I think we should get back to this leopard. Beautiful elephant, glad we could find them, but we have leopard and we're going into leopard time now. Even Tingana has been a little bit, what's the word, uninterested for
in the world. And Karula has gotten up, and she just approached Tingana again, and he just gives a little growl or a little rumble underneath there, and she will probably display a little bit more like she did before and try and coerce him into doing what she wants him to do. And you can see that flicker on the back if we just go in close there. The vocalization that you can hear right now is him, and she's now going to do the same thing that she did before. Rub herself down his belly there. Extraordinary stuff. That is so beautiful.
Really trying our hardest to coax him into
So she's now walking over towards us, folks, and lying down right in front of our vehicle, about 10 feet, so close that we can't really even get a full shot of her body. She's just sat up for us, but you can see how close she is to us. She's started to look on down that way as well. She's heard something. She's been looking down that way for some time, and it's interesting to just see that she's tried again with the behaviour, that very flirtatious behaviour towards him, but he has got no interest whatsoever. Now I'm more interested in why she's looking down that way. The wind is really picking up, folks, and that wind will blow over the microphones a little bit, so I will try and speak up where I can.
All the males, the dominant males in this area. So this male, another male, possibly even one up in the north. You saw the wild dogs. She has been spending quite a bit of time up that side. So she's playing games with all the males in the area. She's being very, very clever. And at the moment there's so much pressure with the males moving and shifting territories that she needs to make sure that all the males have been sorted out and kind of exactly.
Got a little bit of movement out of our boy here, not much, but a yawn. He's starting to sit up. We just had a question from Astralina Australina, thank you very much for being with us on this. And oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. Okay, Australina, I've got to come back to you. There's an impala that is just around the corner here and is unaware. Now you can see what's happening. Stand by. Nice and quiet. Nice and quiet. Everything has changed. Everything has changed. A young impala is just in my vision through the woods there. A little bit of vegetation covering the impala is aware something is there. Karula was lying right out in the open, and that impala just let off a alarm call. But did you see the position? The position. And this is what we were talking about could happen. We said, didn't we? We said earlier, and many people asked the question. We asked the question, what happened if a prey animal walked up, what would they do? And you saw exactly what they would do. They went into hunt mode or stealth mode, and she was just sitting really quiet, upright. She clocked it, and her body position changed. It's just so beautiful to watch. And now we're getting some beautiful, beautiful pictures of Tingana and how big he is compared to her. Now he's alert. He's very alert as well. So opportunistic. Any situation could happen here. Where there was one young male, there's possibly other young male impala coming through. But they're definitely looking that way. This is fantastic, something that's changed from us sitting here with flat cats. Flat cats that we were hoping were going to sit up and we were going to see some mating behaviour, which we did. Now moved on to potentially looking to seize the opportunity if a male delivery or home delivery meal gets delivered straight to their door. Tingana's really, really pricked up his ears now. The big bulk of Tingana's shoulders and neck, and that wonderful dewlap, that sort of flap of skin underneath his throat there, which will help act as a bit of a defense mechanism if they did get into a fight with another male. That big flap of skin would potentially protect him from a fatal wound. If an animal was to grab him around the throat, that floppy, flappy skin there. But it's a very distinct feature on the big males, called a dewlap. If he stood up, you'd notice it a lot more. You can just see it under his neck there, or maybe when he does sit up, we'll see it a bit clearer. Both very, very alert at the moment.
Efron, there's space for one. Make your way. Come in, come in.
Got a great question from Ginny. If Mvula is older than Tingana, and Mvula is actually approximately 1 year older than Tingana. Tingana's about 8 to 9, and Mvula is 10.
No.
So a little bit older, but very, very close.
Maybe not. You might just sit back, let her hunt, and then if she is successful, you might chase her off.
So there's so many different scenarios that could occur if they do hunt. It really is just a matter of seeing what happens. He may decide to, but then again he may not. And if she does, as we mentioned before, he could chase her off. And it just depends on loads of different scenarios that play out. I'm keeping my eyes open, folks, as I'm sort of pausing. I'm just looking through the bush in front of us as they are. The wind is... We have lost sight of the impala, but they are still upright, which is an interesting situation. So these guys are probably the most adaptive cat in the world, I would say. They live in all types of habitats. They eat anything from, goodness me, large hoofed animals, to reptiles, to birds, to small mammals, to even down to insects and crickets if they have to. They're very adaptive, depending on the food availability. And of course, we talked about before how incredible they have that ability to hoist or haul their kill up into a tree, into a larder, and leave it there, feed on it for some time, and leave it there for days at other times. I actually have seen animals here and on other places where they'll have 2 or 3 kills stashed in trees over a period of a week. Other animals normally do come and steal some of that. Let's just see what happens here. Third time lucky. Well, well, well. Unbelievable. That was phenomenal.
That's what she's trying so hard to do.
Well, folks, we waited and we waited and we waited.
When they start to mate, they will mate
And
together for
so beautiful to see that
20 minutes or so.
when you've got patience, you will see extraordinary behaviour from wildlife, and that was a great example of it. But look at Tingana standing there, the size of him, and that dewlap is very apparent now. Oh, how beautiful. Right in front of us, folks. Guys, I cannot tell you how incredible this is to experience this with you. What you just witnessed there, not many people get a chance in their lifetime to see. absolutely spectacular here live on Safari Live. Pieter has now found something just as incredible. Wait till you see what Pieter Pretorius has for you. I'll be right back.
Oh, what an afternoon! What an afternoon. We've been looking for these wild dogs. They saw the 3 adults earlier. We didn't even know that the pups were in the area. And Wium, very awake in the back as always. He spotted a flash across the road. We came back to have a look. And this is what we got. Amazing. Leopards are mating. It's cooling down. I was just about to grab a jacket, but then all this action started. So once again, the afternoon is just taking off with exciting wildlife. This is the same 11 pups. That's incredible. They apparently had 12 pups in this litter, which would have been from one female. 12 successfully. So they must be phenomenal hunters and phenomenal providers for the pack. Oh, this is just unbelievable. It's amazing to see this. Again, we're looking at one of the most endangered large mammals in the world. They cover massive distances, so they can move and cover ground very, very quickly. And these pups are now getting a little bit bigger, so starting to travel with the adults, starting to learn to hunt and so on as well. So the benefit for this pack is they can go from 3 dogs to significantly more, 12, 13, 14, if all of them survive. And that would make a great benefit for them when it comes to hunting. These pups will learn quite quickly to start helping with that. So lots for them to learn, lots for the adults to teach. And I must just say, Wium, well spotted, eh? We could have easily missed this. Of course, those 2 leopard, they're going to be busy as well tonight. Nice and cool, lots of activity expected there. Hopefully in the morning we can find them again. There were some elephants just further back. It's all happening. We'll go a little bit closer. Tex and Wium for the Farmers Latin again. Alright guys, they're going into thick stuff here. We're going to try and stay with them obviously. Look at how easily we could have missed it. There they are. I think for now we'll definitely be able to get to them, but if they do start covering ground faster, it might be tricky to stay with them. Let's see how it goes. So that's going to get hooked. Worst case scenario, we're going to have to go back to 2 leopard mating. So it's like impossible to choose. So the situation will tell. They're just in there. Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Poke our nose in here. There we go. There's the adult. Pups are just in the back there. But let's just see what they do. If they seem to settle down and maybe start playing, we'll reposition ourselves. For now, I just want to see what they're doing. Also, Tex in one of the game drive stations from Boyatella Lodge. He's got new guests today, so they would be very excited to see this. Share this with us as well. As what you've seen this afternoon, I mean, when it comes to safari experiences, obviously there's lots of things you want to see. You want to see giraffe and zebra, which we saw this afternoon. You want to see elephant, which we saw this afternoon. But when it comes to rare sightings, to see leopard, never mind male and female leopard together, and to see wild dog, even if it's through the undergrowth, it's very special to see those species. Those are species that people can come on many safaris and never see. Hello Leslie, all the way out of California. Wondering where in California you are, Leslie. Just asking the age of those pups. I don't know exactly. I must find out if anyone has an exact age on them, but I would say about 3-4 months, probably closer to 4 months. Just looking at their sort of mobility and movement and size. Just quickly tell Texan where we are. Okay, they seem to have settled down. We're just going to go around a little bit. We should again now that they're all settled down now, so we could get a beautiful view of them. Let's see if we can get there. Texan, just keep coming till you see my mobile corns are turning to the north, and you follow me in. Access closer to the southwestern corner of Aubrey's Road Junction. Oh, I think for now it might be better for us to go back to the leopard. This is very, very thick. We're going to try and stay with him. If we can, we'll show you again. If we can't, then we'll see what happens next. But how amazing, and what a special treat for us this afternoon. Enjoy the leopard. I'll see you again before the end of drive, I'm sure.
Folks, it's just all happening, isn't it? Pete with Wild Dog, how extraordinary. And now Karula's gone back to Tingana. This is the third time we've seen, and she's become much more forceful, and then it becomes that growling, pushing the envelope. He's in a bit of a tricky spot there. And this is the third time. Extraordinary stuff. Always finishes it with that obligatory bite on the neck and a little bit of a scrap, and it's advertising the mating as well. He's a little bit lame on his front right leg there, you know. It wasn't just from that, I don't think. I just noticed he was a little bit lame. He was limping a little bit on that front right leg. I'll keep an eye on that just to see if we watch him walk again. But what we're witnessing here, folks, is mating by leopards live in Africa. Now, I have to pinch myself every time I see something like this. Every time I witness something like this, but to be with you live, having you on my vehicle here, my goodness, my heart is jumping for you. This is a really incredible thing. But then, after they've mated, they go into this potential hunting position. Karula has got a very, very inquisitive and quite a high alert sort of a look on her face there. Just down to my left, there was a herd of impala as we came round the corner earlier. But the wind is swirling around. It's a tricky one. It's a great sort of time for hunting, that's for sure, because a lot of the prey animals can't hear or can't smell correctly. They don't know where a scent coming from. It's swirling around, and also their sense of hearing is impaired a little bit by the leaves in the trees and the grass, wind running through the grass as well. So they use this to their advantage. But what you will find is that many of the prey animals go into more vegetated areas to try and get out of that wind. There's so many things that it affects, and all we can do is just sit and wait for a little bit longer. Wow, what an afternoon. I've got a question from, I think it's Brett, Keith, Buffer and a Nut. I'm hoping I've got your names or your call signs right, guys. And I'm hoping I heard that right. And it's a really great question. we did talk chat about it before. If you've just joined us, right early in the piece, I think I touched on it, but it's a really great thing to be able to talk about it a little bit more. If a prey animal was to walk onto these leopards, would they utilise that situation or seize that opportunity? And the answer to that is yes. You can see from the behaviour here, as the sort of light is dropping, they will take that opportunity for sure. But at the moment, there's only one thing on Karula's mind at this exact point in time, and this is the 4th time in about 15 minutes. He'll bite her on the neck, and then there'll be a little scrap. Incredible. And he's going to walk back up here and sit down. And that is the 4th mating that we've seen in 15 minutes. And now and she goes back into, look at that. See the mode that she's in now? So Jeandré has just moved back onto her. That tail flick to me is always a sign of alertness. She's in that mode, and I can just tell by her body posture there, that alert, upright position. She's checking things out, keeping her eyes open, scanning around. And you watch if she sees something, that behaviour, body posture changes dramatically. She'll drop her head and shoulders and go into stealth mode. The tail just moving, and you probably do see a little bit of a similarity with your domestic cats at home. I've mentioned this before. When your cats are a little bit revved up and you're playing with them or something like that, they're chasing something in your house, or they do go with that little tail flick like that. Check it out. Little tiny movement, keeping her eyes wide open, and anything could happen any minute here. We only have to get an impala or a kudu or a wildebeest or anything like that to walk upon, and they will seize that opportunity. So great question to all of you. Thank you very, very much for being with us on the vehicle today. And she's just going into these different sort of modes in between wanting to mate and wanting to hunt. This is spectacular, folks. I'm really, really overjoyed. Got a great question from Valerie in Ontario. Valerie, welcome aboard. Again, great to have you with us. And it's a question that's relating to how long can they hunt when they're pregnant. And absolutely, Valerie, they can hunt right up until pretty much they're going into a very sort of short labour, which they would go into, and then they would hunt right up until then, and then she has to suckle those young, and then she will have to at some point go and hunt again, and keep her vigour up, keep her health up, because she has to produce milk like any mammal, has to feed herself well, and she will then produce milk and suckle those young. Just for anyone's information, it's a very, very interesting position we're in, but I can I was just about to put some lights on, but very gentle lights, and that is just a very soft wash, folks, over these 2 leopards. It's not a spotlight, it's just a wash light that we have just lightens it up a little bit for us. She's going to come back to Tingana and go for her 5th mating. Or is this her 6th? I've lost count. This. We've got a wonderful question from Cameron, aged 5. Cameron, welcome aboard, buddy. What you're seeing right here is an amazing thing, my friend. Cameron, these leopards together are growling at each other, and you want to know whether they're angry with each other or they're just talking. Well, Cameron, I have never learnt how to speak leopard, but if I did, I'd be able to share with you a little bit more than I'm going to. But the simple answer to your question, Cameron, is they're sort of talking to each other. They're communicating like your mum and dad would, or my mum and dad, or other people's friends, like you would with your friends. You would communicate and talk to them in a language that you understand, which is our language. Leopards have their own language and their own series of growls and snarls that mean different things, and tones that they use, and that basically means that they can communicate with each other. So great question, Cameron, and so good to have you, mate. I love to know that young people like you, 5 years old, mate, you are going to go so far asking questions like that. Thanks for being on the vehicle with me, mate. Incredible. Incredible. Folks, I just can't explain to you in words how lucky we are. Safari Live rocks. That's all I can say right at this moment. Safari Live rocks. I think it was Judith in North Carolina just asked a great question, and Judith, I do apologise, we were right in the middle of some pretty serious action there, so I didn't want to interrupt them. Judith, you wanted to know about how heavy I think, or we think, Tingana is. Tingana's an adult male, and goodness, there's been loads of different weights measured. Some of the books sort of say around 65, 70 kilograms, which is about, in pounds, I think about 140 to 150 pounds. I have heard of leopard heavier than that. He is a big boy. I would probably say around the 60 to 65 kilo mark at the max up there, which is around the pounds that we mentioned, about 140. But very, very difficult to tell as well, because it's muscle mass, so it's not like he's fat. He's going to have a lot of muscle on him, and you remember muscle weighs more than fat, so I'm having a guess at 65 to 70 kilograms, and that's just a stab in the dark, but he could be even a little bit more. Great question, Val, and thank you very much for watching and being with us. I'm just going to reposition the vehicle down here a bit, folks. Shall we stay? I think we'll stay. A little bit of vegetation here. I'm not sure, they're just here somewhere. bit tricky, folks, because I don't really want to shine my light in these guests' eyes at any cost. But you can see the silhouette just there for a second. I'm just going to turn off just for a second because this shows you how close we are. Tingana's just lying there. I think Karula is just down here somewhere, but I also don't want to go crashing through the bush there at the moment and disturb them. So yeah, what an incredible experience. Just a little bit of a recap whilst Tingana's just recovering from a very, very energetic 15 minutes. We sat, we saw them. Before we found them, they were flat. Heat of the day. And if it was just one cat, we still probably would have stayed, of course. A leopard's a leopard, whether it's flat or not. And because we've got Pieter out and Scott out and everything, there's lots of different opportunities for us. But the reason why I really, really wanted to stay was because there was two of them, and it's a unique situation. It's a situation that I think everyone watching and what we've just witnessed would say that it was worth staying for. We didn't know whether it was going to come off. They could have made it through the night. Anything could have happened, but the thing is that we were patient. And this is what watching wildlife is all about. Being patient, sticking with it, taking your time, not changing the behavior of the animal, not overstepping the mark, and that's what it's all about. Here comes Karula just now, beautifully lit there. Again, folks. Oops, sorry. Absolutely amazing to see both of them right next to each other like that, and the sexual dimorphism. So that basically means this difference in size. We've got them right behind a bush here, but I just want to see if she's actually. No. Please bear with me, folks, while I just reposition. Walk down this way a little bit. See them nicely there. I'm just going to keep some nice distance from them there. I think that wash light's enough. We don't need to be putting any other light on them. One of the other vehicles has just got this spot just at the base of their feet and things like that. I think that's adequate for us to see without imposing on their evening too much. Sorry about that. So folks, I just want to give you a little update. We haven't unfortunately been able to relocate the wild dog, and at this time of the night as well we would refrain from pursuing them for the simple reason that they're diurnal, predominantly diurnal. I very rarely you'll ever see them out at night, maybe a moonlit night. But I've only ever seen them once on a moonlit night. But we haven't been able to find them again. But you never know what tomorrow may bring. Again, we're doing live rehearsals tomorrow. Rehearsals in the morning. So this show will only be very short tomorrow. The Safari Live in the morning. And I'll update you a little bit more about that till coming to the close of this evening. right down there. It's starting to get a little bit thick there, but I would say that we might be able to just put our lights on there, and that's just our headlights. So they're walking off into the distance, and do you know what? I think I'm going to make an executive decision. It's so thick through there, and it's night, and we've got about 30 minutes to go. I'm going to pull off this. I'm going to refrain from going any further. These two animals have just given us nearly 3 hours of their time. They've allowed us to be with them, very, very close. We experienced an incredible sighting, an incredible encounter. I'm not going to go through that. I'll just have a little look over here and see if there's a very easy route, and we'll just see how we go. But my gut feeling is to let them be. And folks, just while we've got, I think that's the tail of Karula there, just going off into the distance. Or actually it might be no, it's Karula and Tingana's on the right hand side, I think. I may be wrong, but I'm just looking at my monitor here. I think my instinct and my ethics and morals would say thank you, thank you, thank you, you beautiful creatures, and you go off into that magnificent night. And it is just a little bit thick through here. I do think we are going to probably come unstuck down there. Looks like they're going down into a drainage line as well, and I really do think we'll probably leave it there. Now, I'm happy. I hope you're happy. I've had an extraordinary afternoon. We're still going to go off and have a little bit of a look to see if we can find some other nocturnal creatures. Wow! I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for trusting us, and thank you for supporting us and asking all those wonderful questions. And sometimes when I flounder around with a question, it's because I'm watching the behaviour and I'm trying to get in position or keep my head out of the shot, and I get so excited. Poor Jeandré in the back there is probably wanting me to just move out of the way and let him get the shot. But it's been an extraordinary afternoon. Now, we're not finished, as I said. I just want to give you a bit more information. We normally have a fireside chat on a Sunday evening. We're not going to do that tonight. We're going to stay out with the animals. We're going to keep looking for a little bit more. The crew are incredibly tired. We've been working long hours rehearsing for these shows, for the TV shows for Nat Geo, which will still be online as well, exactly like what you're watching now. But I think I'm sure you understand, and I'm sure you support us on that decision. And we should tootle around and have a bit more of a look. I'm on the biggest high I've been on in a long time. Wild dogs yesterday, 2 leopards mating 5 times today. I love this place. I love this country. South Africa is unbelievable. Sabi Sands, unbelievable. Djuma, oh yeah. Right, let's get some lights on here. Safari Live, coming to you live. What a crazy experience is this. Never in my wildest dreams as a child did I ever think this would be able to be done? Broadcast live from a Land Rover with your mates. Beautiful. Right, oopsie. Just have to put my camera away, folks. Please bear with me. great question from Jean in Los Angeles. Welcome aboard, Jean, and what a great city you live in. I love that place. LA, what a great place. So, Jean, a great question. Do the males ever instigate the mating ritual? I haven't seen the males instigate it like I did. They would never be that mirror image. I've only ever seen the females display like that. Males I will find trailing or covering their territory, looking for females in estrus potentially, but also Karula could overlap into other territories and mate with a few other males as well. So you just don't know. But in 90 to 100 days, if we see suckle marks on Karula's belly, you and me and Jeandré and Rohan, oh yeah, we'll feel part of the family. We'll feel a little connection to those cubs. Uncles and aunts. That's probably the situation. But seriously, Jean, the female normally shows that flirtatious behavior, and she was really giving it her all and persisting as much as she possibly could. And you know what? It paid off. She really did have success. I'm just going to go, we've got another vehicle coming. Sorry guys, sorry. Just turning my lights off. Sorry guys, thank you. And I've never, so basically yes, what happened, she presented herself, she did that amazing sweeping of herself up and down his belly and really pushing him to the point that he then copulates or mates with her. But then there's the ritualistic or the obligatory bite on the back of the neck. I've never not seen it. The bite on the back of the neck, and then the rollover and the real display of sort of claws and growling and snarling and gnashing of teeth. And then it is a great advertisement as well to other males that there's some mating going on, and this male is doing his thing, what he's supposed to do. So yeah, 90 to 100 days. If we see it may be Tingana, who knows? But she did walk back over in towards his territory, so who knows? That could go on for quite a long time. But I think we made the right decision, folks. Let me know if you think we made the right decision. You can tweet us at Safari Live or questions@WildEarth.tv. In my gut, in my heart, I felt like those animals had just been with us for such a long time and allowed us in their presence for such a period that it's like giving back. Leaving them rather than pursuing them and letting them walk off it feels good. I feel good about it. Just let me know your thoughts on that, because it's quite nice to hear feedback and see what we think. Yeah, right. Spotlight, where is it? I can put it back down here. That's great to hear, Ellen. Ellen's just said you made the right decision. We agree, and I really thank you for that, because I often, particularly with leopard, I often sort of go, oh, should I keep going? It's a leopard. Should we pursue? And I normally would go if the country was a little bit easier to navigate. It's dark. Last thing we want is get really stuck at this point, and particularly after we've had such an incredibly beautiful encounter. Yeah, I feel sated. I feel my appetite is satisfied with magnificent behaviour. So there was a herd of impala here, but I'm not going to put my light on them, of course, but just looking for any other nocturnal animals. There's a lot of wind around at the moment, folks, so I do apologise. I'm kind of yelling a little bit, and it's quite hard to hear. Okay, so let's keep going. I think whilst I just get out of this windy spot here in this really open part, we'll move down to another little area that I like to do for the last sort of 20 minutes on quarantine. Pete is in a drainage line, and Peter's like a bloodhound, so he'll be after something, I'm sure. We'll come back to you just now.
We are driving along the riverbed, as Hayden was saying there. Amazing leopard. That's just, I think, any drive always has a highlight. Even the quietest drive I've been on always has something great. But to see two mating leopard and to see wild dogs and pups right in front of us, that's just been an epic game drive so far. And I might have to go as far bed again. The magic back in control room, and to be specific, Mr. Pieter and Alex, they have fine-tuned things a bit and effectively just given us a whole different place, a whole bigger range that we can drive around in again. So that for me is also very exciting.
Yeah.
Find things down in those riverbeds, we can actually go and see them. Also very.
So being in a drainage line, Pete's probably got a bit of bad signal there, and it's pretty tricky, but sometimes you've got to go into those locations to find creatures. He's got an instinct. Pete's an incredible person in the bush to be with. Just putting my earpiece back in, folks, sorry. Incredible person to be with in the bush, and he's just got this sixth sense. If he's in that drainage line, he'd be in there for a reason, but I'm sure the signal's not fantastic there for him. So we'll just carry on and have a little bit of a look around here, and I'm sure when we get signal back, we'll cross back to him. Well, it's been a fantastic afternoon, hasn't it? Goodness me. Just on a high, on an absolute high. Bit of a wind up tonight, folks, as well. Hopefully that isn't going to mean, I mean, we want it to rain. Of course you want it to rain. The rain is a necessary part of existence in any habitat, or some form of moisture in nearly all habitats on the planet. But we just want it to hold off for a little bit, please. That it's on its way. I remember last year and you probably, I'm sure, you know, I watch Safari Live when I'm in London. I have Safari Live on all the time, and when I can, and I've seen the whole team do shoots and get in the rain cover and have little chats and things like that. So you just have to adapt in those situations. But you'll understand, I'm sure, because hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rands worth of, or US dollars worth of equipment on this vehicle, in the back of it, and on top of it, and all throughout it, and it doesn't really like water. So a nice elephant just here. So sorry, now the situation with elephant that I think I mentioned the other night was interesting, that your vision as a diurnal primate, which is what we are. See, there's another boy, and there could be another boy, and I don't want to drive down there and cut off potentially the group or the bachelor herd. I think they're bachelor boys by the looks of things. I can smell them. There's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful smell in the air when those elephants, we're downwind of them, and they've just gone up. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's a super smell. It's like a musky, sort of a sweet smell. I can see another one just through there somewhere, and I can hear some just through there. The wind has dropped a little bit. So what you do when you pull up, I just do want to have a quick look that we haven't got one right next to us here, because it's very important just to survey your surroundings. Yeah, so you could smell this incredibly strong smell. So that indicates to me that either the first individual or the second individual, I think, are just caught, you know, a wet sort of secretion between the second individual's legs and the temporal gland down the side of his head there. It's called the must gland. Now, I'm sure all the presenters have told you this before and mentioned it, but it's always worth mentioning, particularly for people that have just joined us, or if you didn't quite catch it last time. Must. M-U-S-T-H. M-U-S-T-H. Must. And it's a secretion or a gland that basically exudes this very, very pungent sort of a smell, secretion that smells very pungent, sorry, and it is an indicator that the animal is sexually active. Now, when that situation is there, they're a little less tolerant, they're a little more quirky, one could say, with their behaviour, but you can normally judge it. Big elephant bulls are pretty handleable most of the time, but you just got to keep your wits about you and just be very respectful. But it's an incredible smell, and I've also got other wafts of beautiful night bush smells right now coming over us. So just I love to do that little sensory update right at the end of each evening, because it's great. And it's silent, except for an elephant just over there crunching through some sticks or some branches. You know what? I reckon we should go back and see if Pete's got signal. I'm sure he has, and we'll be right back with you.
Yeah. Hello everyone, welcome back this side. So we just spotted something. It's just tricky to get into the right position. Just up on the branch there. It's a little bit far for me to pull the branch down for you to see better, but that is a little dwarf lion, a small lion, a chameleon. And you can see just in the time that we've stopped now, having a bit of light on him, he's changed to a greener color. Let's try and get the light a bit better, perhaps. And I hope he's going to find himself a branch a little bit closer to the tree to sleep on, because it's quite windy and he's sitting out on the proverbial limb. So if he got himself a branch closer to the sort of tree trunk itself, he might actually have a better night's sleep. But either way, he's happy. Little flap neck chameleon. Actually not a little one, he's a decent size. He's probably 2 years old already. Really nice now in the summertime, November, December, once the rains have sort of arrived properly. You can sometimes find little chameleons like that, but when they've just hatched and you get them tiny, I mean, when I say tiny, I mean, you know, like that part of your finger size, really, really small. A lot of fun when you spot them. You spot them sitting on grass twigs, you know, grass stems on them. What do you call that actually? Not the blades of grass, but the actual, the stems of the grass. You see them sitting on it, just these tiny little things. Alright, well, some more elephant, lots of elephant around. Sorry, I'll just take this road. Lots of ellies around, lots of breeding herds, and when you've got lots of breeding herds around, inevitably you'll find the big bulls following them, and most of all the bulls that are in must. As H2 was explaining to you there, it's a very special sort of state for the bulls to be in, and various ways of telling it, but smell often is the easiest. Just to come back again, maybe you've just joined us for the last part of the drive. We had an excellent afternoon. Those two leopard, Tingana the male, Karula the female, they should be around tomorrow. Still touch wood and cross fingers because they are mating. And that's normally something that can continue for a few days. Obviously all of us are hoping for that. So it'd be great to spend the next few days following and watching them. And then after that, they will both be very hungry. And the closest, most reliable food store, food supply, sorry, I was going to compare it to a store, would be quarantine. Lots of impala there. We saw zebra there today. You know, lots of things around there. So if we're lucky, we could have them around for a few days. The wild dogs, same story. Quarantine, great area for hunting. They actually tried to hunt there just after we left them the last time. Brent and Scott were driving back towards camp and they saw them flash across the road. That was just after sort of dark already. So my prediction or my guess, or both, would be that in the morning we've got a very, very good chance of starting the drive with wild dogs. 5:30 Central African time when we kick off. It's just getting daylight. The sun rises about 22, 25, well, 22 to quarter to, somewhere there. And it was beautiful when we found them the other morning, exactly at the waterhole down in front of Boytela Lodge. So definitely try and join us for the first part of the drive tomorrow morning, because I have a feeling it's going to be good. Very good question, referring to the wild dogs. Anna Marie, guys, remember when you send in questions, it's always nice to let us know where you're from, because in this case, for instance, Anna Marie might be from South Africa, in which case your name will be Anna Marie as opposed to Anna Marie. So always let us know if you don't mind where you're from. Always nice to know where you all come from. You were asking, Anna Marie, what are the chances of the survival for these pups into adulthood? And I would say very good. I mean, typically, you know, they don't all make it, as in the case of lions with their cubs or leopard and so on as well. But it seems the adults are doing a very good job of raising them, keeping in mind there's only 3 adults in that pack, 11 pups. But the pups are now big enough to start moving with them and even be close by when they hunt. Not quite big enough to help hunt yet, but they will learn quickly. Very intelligent animals. And I'm sure that with a little bit of luck, they might well all survive, which obviously will be great. I'm just going to dim the lights down. There's some nyalas running down the road. We don't want to blind them. And there's a game drive vehicle. I wonder who that might be. It's one of the game drives. I'm just going to quickly say briefly, I think it might be Texan. We spoke to him earlier, so we wouldn't need to stop then. Put this down quickly. Aubrey, how are you for? Very good. Sorry to be so quick. We are live at the moment, but I'll come say hello tomorrow. Guys, have a great safari. We'll see you in the morning. Watch out for those dogs in the morning. They're going to be drinking water in front of your camp. That's Aubrey. He's the other guide at Juma Lodge. He's normally guiding for Galago Camp or Galago Camp. Texan guiding for Boytela. And both of those guys are really good friends of mine. I've known Aubrey now for 14 years. He was a tracker with me for a long time. He's now guided for many, many years. Texan as well. Texan's a great guy. I have a lot of time for him. An amazing family as well. His wife and 2 daughters. Stunning people. So yeah, Anna-Marie, I'd say, you know, good for all those pups to make it to adulthood, or at least for most of them. It will depend on food. Food should be plenty. We're now going into summer. There's lots of animals around, but also the baby impala season is coming, so that gives them a good window of hunting opportunity. You will well remember, those of you that were here for last year's Big Cat Week. And Marie, if you were here, you might remember it. You not might. Let me be a little bit more specific with what I'm saying here. If you were here, you would remember, because we saw 2 incredible wild dog hunts. One at Buffelshoek Dam, and then with Hayden, the other one up to the Buffelshoek boundary. So it's a good time for lots of food around, and a good time to be hopeful for the wild dog's future. That's specific fact. from Illinois. Thank you very much. Wondering where in Illinois actually. I spent some time in Champaign, Illinois, the university there. Jeandré just saying that this pack were 5 adults. Sorry, something bit me on my ear. 5 adults, of which 2 have passed away, 1 from a snake bite. But these 3 have survived, and the 12 pups, correct as you said, they were 12, now 11 of them. So let's hope they all make it. Get themselves up to a nice full-size pack again. Dip, one of our best leopard spotting areas. Wium and myself were talking earlier. It's always exciting driving through that dip, because on many occasions you find something good there. Rachel, and I would actually like to ask that question back at anyone who'd like to look it up for us. Rachel from New Jersey, just asking how many wild dogs are left in the wild. And Rachel, to be honest with you, I haven't read any recent numbers, recent meaning in the last 2, 3, 4 years. So if a couple of you that are into this, Georgianne maybe, who was it just now that would, I get confused with all the names, I apologize. For giving us the info on this pack. If you could quickly maybe let us know what are the estimated numbers of African hunting dogs, African painted dogs left in the wild. My guess would be about 5,000, 5,500. That's where the numbers were at the last time I was reading on it. Difficult to know the exact numbers. Obviously in some other parts of Africa, the sort of study of them and the sort of keeping an eye on them and following them is not as well organized as in South Africa. You get them in Namibia as well, northern parts of Namibia, Botswana, the Delta obviously is still a haven for them, various other parts of Africa. But the last numbers I knew were sort of 5,000, 4,500. But I would love it for you just to get back to me on that. If you can confirm for me, see what the latest estimated numbers are, I would appreciate that. Yes, thanks Wium. At the end of drive, and as you can see we have a vehicle here, and I have a feeling I know where it is, and perhaps you might even jump from this vehicle over to him and he can say goodbye to you just now. But first I'm going to say how's it to him, because I know that
my friend
Mr. Turner.
How are you, mate? What's up, Mr. Good to see you.
Breaking here.
How are you, mate?
You had a great afternoon.
Oh my goodness me.
Yeah.
Just stumbled upon, remember I said I didn't know where those cats were really. We just drove around, and then as I was heading towards Bufflesilk, I heard, it was right where we were just about to pass, and
you heard them?
Oh, not really, but we sort of saw down that way. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Extraordinary.
Fantastic.
Absolutely extraordinary. And
then eventually her effort sort of paid off. It seems he was playing a little bit hard to get.
Very, very persuasive, our Karula. And you know Karula better than anyone, mate. I was telling everybody how incredible your relationship is with them.
Yeah, I'm just glad to see that she's got plans.
She's got plans. We saw six times in about 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes.
Okay.
Amazing. Textbook, but she was amazing. She was all over him, and he was just
fantastic.
Like this. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
And then he cottoned on. It was time.
Fantastic.
And then they spotted an impala just walking on, but it was great.
I heard it was very good. We had the dogs.
I know.
We did some magic spotting, and in the morning, I think we're going to have some activity around here.
I can feel it.
Guys, from my side, thank you very much for a great afternoon. It's It's been a lot of fun, Hayden. Enjoy it. Enjoy the last few minutes with Hayden. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Cheers, guys.
I love those little accidental meetups. We really don't know sometimes where each other is. So I just see these spotlights coming over the hill, and sure enough, it's Pete and Wium. And it's quite fun right at the end too, just to see each other on the road. He's a great fella. He's a great friend, and just a great, very, very connected with the bush, Pete, and he really does know these cats on Jeandré and Arethusa very, very well. So great knowledge, and I'll get some information off him tonight about the history, and I learned so much off all these wonderful presenters that we work with, and I have this great privilege to be on this team. It's just a lovely, lovely thing. It's great to sit around the fire and talk about what you saw and share the stories and so on as well. Well, what a day. What a day. I think I'm probably just going to head up and just park up for a little bit and get you guys nice and comfortable just to say farewell. I've actually seen a line up here last time I was here. It's fantastic to come along here and come across some line one evening. Very, very incredible stuff. So we're up on quarantine. I'm just going to pull up here on the side, just have a little farewell with you. Let me just. Alright, so let me just pull up here and close with you. I'll just leave that on. So folks, the great thing is also Scotty, who I just get energized when I watch Scott in the bush. He's just an incredible guy to watch. So it's great to have him on board today. But Scotty's word on the street is, or the Bush Telegraph, is that he reckons that he's got a funny feeling that the Birmingham boys might cross over into our territory, into Jeandré, soon. So fingers crossed there. So folks, a quick wrap up from me, and I'm going to say farewell from Rohan and Jeandré as well, and thank you guys for being there with me today to experience that. But the whole thing about Safari Live is you. Your connection and our connection right here, the two of us, is what it's all about. Being able to have those experiences with you is absolutely 100% what this is all about. It's the experience. And it doesn't matter, we drive around, we don't see anything, but it's us together on our vehicle, all of you doing it together. Leopards like I've never seen here. What a pleasure, what an experience, what for me in my heart, just I'll never forget it. So I'm going to say we were lucky, but we were also patient, and we showed the right persuasive sort of behaviour of ourselves today, just to sit there and watch. See you soon. I'm not sure when, but it's been great. Take care, and see you tomorrow morning for a little bit on Safari Live.